this thought just now. Colossians chapter 3, verse 1. If then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on things on the earth. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is our life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. So I was just thinking, it would be cool if we did this as if we're already in heaven.
Yeah.
And we're talking like, we're kind of like, well, we're talking about what our experience was down on earth.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. So like, if we could just figure out like what we'd want to ask, because obviously we already know each other, but like now that we're here and we're being debriefed, like,
Yeah.
you know, because it was pretty freaking traumatic down there, right? So this
Yeah.
is like,
This is our debriefing.
this is our debriefing. You know, like, you know, if you come up from a scuba diving, you got to like, you know, what do they call that? You know, get the bends out or whatever. This is like before we go in,
Yeah.
we're getting debriefed,
Okay.
you know, but we don't really have angels here to ask the questions. So we'll have to kind of like imagine like kind of like what kind of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say sucked the worst? What was the worst thing about being in that temporal realm that, for you? And I guess, I mean, you can answer however you want,
Yeah.
but like, in terms of, I guess, what it meant to be human, because here we're about to find out, I suppose, like, as soon as we go in, after
Yeah.
this debriefing, what it really actually means to be human, to not have a fallen side and everything
Yeah.
else. Like, for you, what was, like, in that nightmare, what was, like, the worst?
What did I do that mattered? Like, what about however long I lived, and I hope it was short. Like, what did I do that, like, you know, Jesus prayed, like, you know, do on earth, your will on earth as it is in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So, just being in the moment and, like, kind of getting lost in the weeds and just doing so much stuff that, like, didn't matter, and not knowing, like, is what I was doing something that mattered or not? Because, like, you know, you get punished, you get traumatized, you know. I see how all that worked together for good. Like, I could see it today, I could see it when we were looking down on heaven, like, you know, thank you for everything that happened. But, like, when you're in it and you're in the boredom, you just left wondering, like, did I torture myself in the boredom by doing stuff that didn't matter? Am I making sense?
I think so. Did you torture yourself in the boredom?
Yeah.
Unnecessarily?
Yeah. So, like, you know, I'm reading David right now. Okay. And he's like, you know, he goes up, and, you know, the cliche story is David and Goliath, but he goes up and faces, like, whatever, we could call it the Punisher, with just, like, you know, he just, like, picks up some rocks and just, like, throws them. And, like, he doesn't, you know, go to prepare. You know, he doesn't, like, do all these, like, extraneous things. So I just wonder, like, truly how much of my time am I wasting by, like, doing all the extraneous things? Am I making sense?
All the
like,
stuff in between the dramatic stories.
Between the dramatic stories.
Right.
Like, you know, there's...
like, you went to Home Depot or something today, right?
Like, I went to Home Depot.
Right. Like, that won't be a part of your story when you...
That won't be, but, like...
Well, wait, that's not a part of your story when we go in, because we got to get this straight. We're, like, we're just being... Yeah.
Right.
Right, okay.
That won't be part of my story.
That really won't be of any significance whatsoever.
No. But how much of the stuff that, like, I could have just not done? You know, like how much of like the
Like, how much did you try to find meaning in the
how
meaninglessness?
much did I try to find meaning in the meaninglessness and just like hated every second of it, but was like, I'm doing this for you, God. You know?
Right.
Like, because the pain I could take, but like pain without purpose, I would have to say at the end is just like, because I can look back and see all this, like, the stuff where I'm just like, I wasted my time. And like, I didn't have to
Right. Try so hard.
to experience that. So it's like, out of, let's say, the 35 years,
Right.
like, was like 25 of that just like me taking it into my own hands to like try to do extra where I wasn't even being asked to do extra, and it wasn't gratifying to, you know, my soul to do extra.
Well, it's an interesting thing because now that we're here,
Yeah.
if you had to go back, I know you
If you-
wouldn't choose to go back.
Yeah.
Like, what could you do differently in those times, though?
Do less.
Like,
Do less. I'm serious. You just do like, you just sit around, and you just wait until you feel compelled to do something.
mind controlled by the Spirit.
Mind controlled by the Spirit. Like you just like.
You wait for the highlight moments of
Yeah.
David's life.
Yeah, like, because here's what
Yeah.
he did. He goes in to Saul's, like, after Saul's really angry at him. He goes in, he, like, plays the harp, and Saul tries to kill him. And then Saul calls him back the next day to play more and tries to kill him again. And David is like, David has to know, he's like, Saul's going to try to kill me.
Right.
But for some reason, I'm going to go back in. And, like, he was so sold out and just so listened to the Spirit that he was just like, I just feel like it's right to go back in and almost get killed. And then he did.
Like, he knew somehow when he got to this place that would make for a good story. Because, like,
Yeah.
really, if he, we're assuming he's being led by the Spirit,
Yeah.
right? That would be the only story worth telling, even if
Yeah.
it seems insane there. So unless you're, like, being led by the Spirit,
Uh-huh.
right?
Then your time is wasted.
And it's a dumb story. Because
Yeah.
if you're led if you're led by the flesh, I'm assuming good or bad, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Your mind's controlled by that fallen part.
Yeah. Nobody's going to care
No,
about it.
and like, would you want that story told?
No.
At best, it would be like,
God loves such an idiot
right,
that I did this and he still,
Right.
yeah.
like in 6th grade, I could have like settled for a B plus, but I tried really, really hard and I got an A minus.
Oh, yeah.
Although I can't remember what that class was.
Yeah.
And it has no significance whatsoever, but it made my parents happy.
Both your parents or just one of your parents?
Well, just my imaginary parents.
Just your imaginary. Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good.
right. So it has zero significance
Yeah, it has
whatsoever.
So that was an imaginary story. You never actually like.
No. Well, I'm just making the point
Yeah.
that I have no memory of if that even occurred because
Yeah.
that's so lame. It's ridiculous.
That is, yeah, it's really lame.
So if we go with that, like the part of you that was woke up, the new man to be led by the Spirit, like what would be like looking back now when you were there would be like a highlight for you of led by the Spirit sort of highlight, as weird as it might sound, because obviously, right, like
Yeah.
you're saying, going back in the second time when you know Saul's going to kill you on the human level doesn't seem smart, but it is a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is my... That's a really good question. I mean, it's got to be something with Sarah. I think that because it's hard because like either way, like if I do something bold in the spirit or bold in my flesh, like they both like feel like stupid things to do, you know. So probably like I just felt with Sarah so strongly as her friend. This was like day 2 of like I visited Albuquerque, like being around her, like I just told her, yeah, if you ever got disabled, I'd take care of you for the rest of your life. Like, and I meant it sincerely. Like, I would have, and like, that's just how I felt. Like, I just felt compelled just to say that.
And so that's something you'll always remember
That's something I remember. Yeah.
as we go in.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you? If you want to start with
What was the
first
first
question,
one?
the worst. What's the worst part about being?
I mean, you're very, you tend to be very detail specific. I go kind of like, I mean, the first about 50 years of my life? Roughly.
Yeah, roughly the first.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Because I'm 54. Well, I'm
Yeah.
about to be 54. So, and that's, and I was born again when I was 21.
Yeah.
So I'm not even talking about salvation,
Right.
right? I'm just talking about like finally waking up.
Yeah.
So probably you could just erase probably the first 50 years of my life.
You'd be happier.
Yeah, I wouldn't need to. I don't know if there's anything that like, in the spirit sense, not
Yeah.
that there weren't great blessings
Yeah.
in my life. I mean, like, but in terms of like, I think I'm thinking of it kind of like, who was I? Where did I like start to feel, like who I am now since
Yeah.
we're here and we're about to go in? Like, when did I start to even begin to feel even in the ballpark of what I feel now? I mean, in spirit.
Yeah.
3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. But like for the most part, I would say, and again, truly, having children, having family, all those things and all the experiences I had, awesome. But in terms of like feeling as awake as I feel in this moment right now, even a glimmer of that,
Yeah.
it felt like I was sleepwalking. And so the last 3 years or so has felt, I mean, the awakening, obviously, but to where
Yeah.
I feel like, where I felt like I'm anywhere close to like how I feel right now as we're about to go in. Just a few years. Isn't that pathetic? I mean, like Moses wandering around in the desert for 40 years before his ministry started.
Yep.
Like 40 years before he even spent another 40 years leading the Israelites. Like, I would imagine his awakening was around the time he saw the burning bush,
Yeah.
It's like that kind of burning bush kind of thing with God, for me, was about not that long ago. And then, since then, and again, good experiences in this fallen realm, not so good experiences, but like overall, last 3 years have been pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean overall, like, yeah, and whatever that story is that would be recorded of any significance, I would leave that to God, any
Yeah.
particulars, but as a general picturing, that's what I would say.
So you don't have an answer about the second question.
Which is the second one?
You asked it.
Yeah.
It was the one about like being led in the spirit.
Oh,
like what?
well, like right now.
Yeah.
I
that's
mean,
such a
like,
cop-out.
no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because, like, and this is what I've enjoyed the last few years. Like, I'm saying this to you, but,
Yeah.
like out of my periphery, I know there might be somebody that would be listening. Like,
Yeah.
maybe.
May-
So I'm kind of like saying, but I mean, like, truly, and no one's going to believe this, like, we set all this stuff up,
Yeah.
had absolutely zero expectation and plan of what we were doing. We have
Yeah.
no script. We planned out nothing. We set up all the lights, put up a mic, which is completely rigged. And I went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then it came to my mind, oh, it'd be cool if we were like being debriefed. We did an interview, like, you know, we were, that literally came to my mind, then we sat down and hit record.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's a great story. You know, it's not like going in and almost getting murdered by Saul.
Yeah.
Or seeing a burning bush.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I'm concerned, it's something I would always remember in eternity because it was cool, it was faith, and there was no way to plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was no way. And if we did plan for it, I guarantee we'd screw it up. Like, guaranteed.
Yeah.
And I don't care if
premise.
this is good or bad. I really don't care. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, in the last 3 years ago or so, it probably dovetails what you're saying. I've learned how to, I don't know what you call that, let go.
Let go and let God.
Like,
Let go and let God. I just came up with that.
Did you really?
Just now, yeah.
wow, that's brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is that in the Bible?
I think like when I write my version in heaven of the Bible,
Yeah.
you know.
That's good. You're going to start that?
I'll add that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should start it with that and then end it with that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you can't add to the Bible. That's probably not smart. Well, maybe here you can't. Maybe there, when we get in there.
Yeah.
Things are
let go and let God.
Yeah.
And Jesus would be like, I just didn't have the words, Austin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. That's it. Let go and let God.
Yeah.
But living that way and training my brain to live that way in those last few years before we got here,
Yeah.
I started to feel a true joy. Because, like, to your point, you just go around in that existence, like, what do I do? How do I find some meaning, you know, in this moment right now, which you'll never find.
Yeah.
And then you let go and let God. And then you just say, I'm literally going to do nothing until I have a clear aha from God what that thing is. And it's a joy. It's like, truly, it's like, and I would say I've never was all that great when it came to faith. So I would rather have lived in a way that, like, just tell me what to do, God. Like just, you know, like, just, I'm a dog on a leash. You just say, here, boy. And, you know, I have to have eyes and I have to have ears. But that was way more fun than, like, being some dog off a leash and then, like, oh, I gotta have faith and figure out what to do, you know, and make up some important, you know, story that, like, you know, me digging this hole in the backyard has real significance, right? It's gonna be part of my story. And just wait, and then when he tugs, you know, it's just kind of like, okay. Okay. No, I don't know if that's called faith. I don't know. I guess it's obedience.
Yeah.
But I would rather just have that, like, tug. And it wasn't until I, like, said, being a dog, this is going to be really profound.
Yeah.
Being on a dog on a leash is true freedom. Being dog, if the master is Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being a dog on the leash is freedom. Being a dog off the leash, which I was for the first 50 years of my life. And again, it doesn't matter if I dug holes or I did this or I did that.
Yeah.
Is death. It's captivity. So once I started saying, oh, mind control by the Spirit is actually as easy as being a dog on a leash, really, and just don't move until your master, that's when I started having joy. And now, I assume we're going in there, and we're just constantly in our master's presence, right? And I guess we're constantly on that leash, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I hope so.
well, I mean,
We have to be.
we have to be.
Yeah.
Like we're in the spirit. We're in the the kingdom of God.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be everywhere. There's probably no way out of it. I'm assuming. I mean,
There was the first time.
there was the first time.
That
and-
didn't go
right.
too well.
But it didn't work out, did it?
We'll ask them. We'll ask them because now we're about.
I mean, there's
to
not going to be
heaven.
the option in there, is there? There's not
No.
like been the knowledge of good and evil
No,
to where you could go and get off the leash.
I hope. Well, yeah, I don't think so.
I mean,
I think the whole point was now that there isn't that anymore. I think that was.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know though.
I mean, there's a dog like me,
There's
right?
the talk. I just like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did that answer the question?
What was the best part, or just any part where the Spirit led you, and right now?
Yeah, right
Yeah,
in this moment.
not
Right now.
bad. Yeah,
I mean, really.
that does answer the question.
And went to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm. Good.
prayed. I prayed. I
Yeah.
said, Lord, I have no idea what to do. Like, I have
Yeah.
no idea what we're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt this little, and then, oh, I like that. Tug. I like that.
What was the movement again? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that's what it feels
yeah,
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? I mean, we're here.
We are here.
We're debriefing.
Let's go in.
We can't go in yet.
Why not?
We can't. Like we gotta.
I would be like, let's just go in.
I know, but like the
But we can't go
cherubim
in.
are like
The chair.
they're like you have to be debriefed.
You have to be debriefed.
So let me see. See, I'm waiting for another tug.
Yeah.
Okay. What we're about to go in,
Yeah.
you're about to meet Jesus.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to hug him
Yeah.
and look in his eyes and all that time that you did this, in faith.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question that's coming.
Yeah.
I guess what was that like for you back there in your relationship with Jesus? Like, how would you describe your relationship with Jesus in faith? Even being on the leash, even getting on the leash. Like, compare, I mean, we're about to go
Yeah.
in there, like, face to face.
And I'm not trying to impress them when I say it was the easiest thing ever. Like, if I'm on the leash, and like, I think I'm like a treat motivated dog. You know the dogs that just like, they'll just like sit next to you until you like by the table, and then they're just like slobbering, and it just like comes out of their
Yeah.
mouth. I'm just like sitting there like, give me some food, man.
More mana.
Like, give me more mana.
mana.
And like, as long as like, if that was my position, like by the table, just slobbering, just like waiting for food, that was easy. Truly, like
Easy in what way? Like,
it wasn't. There
you
was
would just
no
gorge
work.
yourself?
Yeah, there was no work, and it was good food. Like, I'd never.
Like, the smartest thing you could do is say, give me more flesh,
Yeah.
give me more water, like,
Yeah.
give me more drink.
Yeah, like
Like, there's nothing wiser
I'm
than...
hungry.
Right.
Yeah, feed me more.
Yeah.
And like truly, so if I'm a dog in this image, I'm not gonna be on the leash for my image.
Okay.
If I'm by the table,
Yeah.
and he's doing stuff. He tends to me, he pets me sometimes, but he's still like doing whatever. If I wander off, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. And then because I'm such a stupid dog,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I don't know what to do about this. And then like, Jesus, he doesn't call to me. He doesn't say like, hey,
Hey,
hungry
boy.
dog, come here, you
Yeah.
can get some food here. He's like, I already told you so many times how he is with me. And then finally, like, maybe it's the Spirit,
Yeah.
who's our helper. Who's
Right.
like, oh, Go over there, boy. Something like that.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, oh, I can go to the table. Spirit's like, yeah, go.
That might be a good idea.
Go to the
You
go
see
to
him
the
hungry and
table.
thirsty.
You see him hungry and thirsty,
Yeah.
and I just go and I just sit and then like constantly like in truth in my head
Uh-huh.
I'm constantly just like, what is your food for me right now? And then I eat.
When you say back then, when you would say that, what is
Yeah.
your food for me? How did you mean that? You don't mean it, I assume, like, what would you have me do? Or how do you...
No, I mean, it's everything. So like, Jesus described the Father's work as his food. You know, so sometimes it's doing the Father's work in some way, and that's not like physical action. That'll be just like rising up internally. You know, whatever, however my flesh is rising up in me, like. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's just like, just chill out. But it's always about like, I don't know, it's like a focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh, the mind controlled by the Spirit.
and like, it's just like when my focus is on the food, everything else fades away. That's why I said it was easy. Because when I'm eating, I'm just eating.
And when you say that back then, part of the nightmare of the lie of the flesh or the lie of the world is that you got to earn the food. Couldn't we say it that way? Couldn't we say like that there was this lie that's like, and maybe it wasn't so explicit, but it was just kind of like, you can't just go over to your master and just freely eat. You know, you can't just like, you got to somehow do something, Fido, to like earn that doggy treat.
Like, Austin, why aren't you going out and helping the homeless anymore?
You're right.
You know?
Right.
Like, if Jesus was here, that's what he'd want you to do.
Right.
You got to do these. You got to serve.
You got to do these things to eat.
Yeah.
Or you got to clean yourself up.
Yeah.
Like,
I never really had that issue. I'm just like...
that one wasn't as hard.
that one wasn't as hard for me.
But earning it.
Yeah, definitely earning it. Like, embracing the suck. Embracing the... Kind of goes back to the meaninglessness. Like, look at me. I'm doing such a good job getting through the meaninglessness. Don't you think, Jesus? And meanwhile, I'm just like walking off, getting hungry again. And he's like, you could have just stayed over here.
You don't ever really have to leave.
You never really have to leave. Like it can be good.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Yeah.
We're about to go in.
Yeah.
We're in. We're just in the waiting area.
We're in the waiting area.
And there's never going to be this like, you have to leave, and you got to get to work now, and get away from me. You're getting annoying, right?
Yeah.
We know that, we feel that now, right? But there was such that feeling down there, almost like don't bother Jesus, don't bother God, like you said, he's doing God business up on that table, don't be so annoying and laying at his feet like Mary, sitting at his feet, don't be that, right?
Yeah.
Even though he said to Martha, what she has found seated at my feet is the good portion.
Yeah.
And will never be taken away from her. But man, when it was back there, it was like, okay, go do something good away from the Father. And it's like, that's what Adam and Eve did in the beginning.
Yep.
Right? That's exactly like, you can be like God, and you can know
be
good.
wise,
Yeah. It's like, oh my, that was the biggest, oh my gosh, madness of that. And most of that deception was the church. It wasn't the world.
It wasn't for me. I wouldn't say.
It wasn't?
No, I didn't. I stopped going to church like.
Well, I mean the
there,
church. Yeah. I mean, it's like the, you know what I mean. It was other Christians. I mean, in the it's like, you know.
I think I'm onto something.
What?
Because I understand, you know, like the feeling of religion co-opting your relationship with Jesus. And like, you know, you got to like perform these works. You know, if your fruit is holy, then therefore, you know, whatever else is coming in line. But there's something about just a fundamental misunderstanding of who Jesus is. Like, so take away Christian church for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, at the end of this, you might blame the teachers, you know, who should have taught this. But like, Jesus he says like, this is like, hey, little doggy, this is how you should pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So like, Father, thank you for everything you've given us. And he goes on to say, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And like, we're about to go in, and it's about to be bliss. Jesus is saying, not in terms of material or whatever, he's just saying like, you can have closeness and peace and bliss on earth. That's what he says.
The kingdom of heaven is now.
The kingdom of heaven is now. And like, if you walk not understanding that, like, truly he just wants, like, for me, I call it like life is a party, be happy, because like I don't personally take that as like shallow happiness.
Right. Fleshly happiness.
Fleshly happiness. So I know that just like, but he just wants.
He wants a happy dog.
He wants a happy dog.
He wants a dog that wags his tail.
He wants a dog that wags his tail, and like have that now.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to wait, you know, for heaven. You don't have to bide your time and just like, you know, someday it'll be good.
Yeah.
It's like you're ignoring what he asked you to do.
That's right.
So like, you know, whatever agent, whether it's the church or whoever perpetuates this, it's just like, you know, stop looking at them and like just look at him and be like, hey, what do you want me to do? It was just once.
Yeah.
All he needs is once, and he'd be like, just be a happy dog, eat some food.
Right.
And then forget about everything that says don't be a happy dog.
Right.
And don't eat this food.
That's right.
And then that's the message.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Whatever agent, we know ultimately who that agent is of darkness that lies, right? We won't even mention, since we're here, that name. But you're right. If you're a dog out in the rain, and see, this is the thing. It was when it was back there, you know, when we were in that nightmare. This was the lie. Was like, so if you're a dog or I'm a dog and we're out in the backyard and we're in the rain, you know, Jesus is in the living room by a fire and he's just all cozy and warm up in heaven, and you know, and we're out in the rain and like shivering and cold, and we say, and then we're supposed to be told that that's good. Yeah. But that's not the truth, because when Jesus was on earth, the Father was with him in spirit always. So Jesus, even when he went home, he gave us the Holy Spirit and was with us, abiding with us always. So if doggy is in the backyard in the rain, Jesus is in the backyard in the rain. You know, right? And all the dog cares about is that his master is with him. We're going to have troubles in this world. I mean, we did it to ourselves, truly. Yeah. Surely you're going to die. You're going out of my presence. But God never forsook us. Like, he never left us. And then when so incredible that Jesus dies for us and that we could, you know, be born again of spirit and then actually have that Holy Spirit abiding within us. So wherever doggy goes, God is with doggy. And of course, doggy is going to be like, yeah, it's cold, it's rainy, it's not fun compared to being at the table. Yeah. But there's still food. Yep. There's always food. There's always water. There's always drink, because he's there with you. I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of fun being out in the rain. I mean, you know, I'm not going to miss it.
Yeah, for me, the fun is attention.
Yeah.
You know, he's always like, you know, whether it's you know, we need to share in his sufferings. Right. You know, he asks us to, and, you know, whatever the point the Father's making or teaching us.
Right.
but
we share in his suffering.
we share in his
He was
sufferings.
out in the rain, so at
Yeah.
times with the
We're
Father, so
gonna-
we're going to be out in the
we're
rain.
gonna be out in the rain.
Right.
But it's like, in that moment, he's still paying attention to you.
Right.
You know, you're not alone.
You're not alone.
And if you feel alone in the rain, you gotta wonder.
You got to wonder if there's a deception going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's the deception?
Right. Because you're really not.
Yeah.
And so now we could say we're in the ultimate indoors. That was kind of a collectively outdoor thing, collectively, right?
Yeah.
We're coming indoors, and it is cool because we're about to go in and we're about to see him face to face. And maybe this is a messed up thought, but like, don't eat him. Like, you know, when you see him, don't eat him. Don't do it. Don't bite him. don't like, don't do it. Don't do it. Because like, I don't know exactly what we're gonna eat now.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming since it's his kingdom, there's food everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're so used to be starving and just eating him.
Yeah.
But don't like when you go in there. Don't
do it.
Don't bite. Don't like. It was John chapter 6, right? That they took him so literally. Like don't be a cannibal.
Don't be cannibal.
Because it's kind of like, I think he's like Willy Wonka and we're about to go in the chocolate factory. I'm assuming the whole kingdom's got like food everywhere, which is all him.
Yeah.
Like the Garden of Eden. Right. So I just like
don't eat.
don't. Yeah.
Good. Hey, cherubims, can we go in now? We know not to
Oh, we're not even close.
to eat them.
We're not even close to this debriefing. No.